cyclists today. Fort Walton Beach has been bustling tonight with lights, cameras, and country singers. The group, the Bellamy Brothers, is taking advantage of Soda Joe's drive-in to shoot a music video for its new tune, Rip the Knob Off. Classic cars were in abundance as the producers worked to create a 50s atmosphere. Last year, the Bellamy Brothers took advantage of another Northeast Florida site and shot a country music video at Seaside Inn, south of Fort Walton County. In our area who are looking for a break. TSM Recording Studio is on a mission to bring that talent inside and off the streets. Sue Strong shares their story today on Dimensions.
Many times we hear young people complain that there's just no place to go and nothing to do. And we have a lot of talented young people who are saying those very same words. But now there is a place that is opened up to give them an opportunity to showcase their talents. Joining us this morning is Eddie Williams. He is president and CEO of TSM Records. Tell us a little bit about the TSM Records concept and why you opened your doors.
Well, Sue, we thought that it just simply was not enough avenues for the young people to travel, the ones that wanted to pursue a music career. So I simply got together with a friend of mine, Mr. Willie Easley, and we came up with something that we thought worked, which is a family concept, basically, and it was basically founded on the gospel. And we try to make an avenue for a child, children or adults, as far as that goes, to come in and be able to record and complete their records. And we also assist them in publishing them to some extent.
Now, Willie Easley, of course, is, for those people who may not be familiar with him, he's a gentleman of national acclaim. In fact, he's been around for a long time and has done the recording circuit in a big way, now back in Pensacola. Is he using his contacts? Are you using your contacts to help these young people then to network and make it perhaps to the big labels?
Yes, that's exactly what we did. We put our resources together, and also we took the resources of some of the children. They have relatives that scattered out all over the nation, and we simply put them all together, pooled our resources, and formed a nice little network, and we simply worked through that network.
When you talk about working now, the young people had to even help build the studio.
That's right. That's right.
Hammer, nails.
Hammer, nails, the whole thing. We felt that everybody needed to chip in. It was going to be their company. They were going to be the performers, and so far, everybody's been doing a splendid job.
You also monitor things like grades and attitudes very closely, I understand.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's one of the things that we require. We require that each child maintain at least a C average. We think it's very important. Education is the single most important thing in their lives. So we think that each child should at least have a C average.
What about young people who may be out there, parents who may be listening this morning who think, you know, this just might be the thing for my child? How can they get in touch with TSM, and who do you take in?
Well, we take in everybody, actually. We screen them to make sure that there are some potentials in terms of talents, and we simply audition them, and you know, that's about all that's required, is to have talent. You would just have to call Mr. Scott Pegram at 438-3540, and Scott will make an appointment for anybody.
All right, thank you very much.
Around the world and I can't find my baby. I don't know when, I don't know why. When you're gone away, you're not gonna know where he is, my baby. But I'm gonna find you.
You've got to kiss an angel good morning. Let her know you think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning. Love her like the devil when you get back home.
Can you reach my friend? Bring a searching to an end. Lord, I know you love him. Help him understand. I love you. Did I forget to know I need you? Did I forget to tell you how I feel? I want you to know that
A location state for film companies from New York or Hollywood. Realizing the need for creative and artistic talent for filmmaking in Florida and to make the state a production center, the Florida State Legislature commissioned a brand new film school to be built at Florida State University. Compared to other film schools, FSU's film school is the first of its kind to come along in more than 20 years.
Well, I was teaching film in the English department, and at a certain point, the university and the state of Florida wanted to have film education at some university, and in a sense asked the major universities in the state whether they would be able to or be interested in proposing a film production school. And that's when I and Don Ungerite in the College of Communication got together and put together a program. And this was probably 1989, I think.
Thus came the 7th Film Conservatory in the nation. The Florida State University School of Motion Picture, Television, and Recording Arts began operations in the fall of 1989 with an undergraduate program located on the main campus of FSU in Tallahassee. In addition, a graduate program is located next to the Oslo Performing Arts Center in Sarasota. The dean of the film school, Dr. Ray Fielding, is a seasoned veteran in the film industry and has been instrumentally involved with 6 of the nation's top film schools.
Well, arguably, there are only 7 major film conservatories in the United States, and it's been my privilege to have been associated with 6 of them. I started at UCLA as a student, and man and boy, I was there for about 14 years. I arrived at UCLA about a year after the film school opened, took my BA and my MA degrees, then joined the faculty and stayed with them for many years and became a tenured associate professor. And then the chance came to go to University of Iowa and to head up their film program, so I moved there for 4 years. And then an opportunity came along to create a new program, a whole new school of communication, including a new film program from scratch at Temple University, which is a large private university in Philadelphia. And I remained there for 9 years, and we created 4 programs. We had new facilities, new studios, and there the emphasis was on documentary filmmaking. Then the chance came to do the same thing at the University of Houston, new facilities, new studios, new school of communication, and a new film program. So I moved to Houston, remained there for 12 years, and served for 5 of those years as a director of the School of Communication at Houston. And then, once again, the chance came to come here to Florida State University and create what may be the largest and most ambitious film school of them all in the country, the School of Motion Picture, Television, and Recording Arts.
The inception of Florida State's film school set precedent among many other university film schools by implementing new concepts and programs. For example, students don't pay for production costs, and the Florida legislature funded the film school program.
Why did you choose to come to FSU Film School instead of any other programs?
Because it was so different from all the other programs. I mean, everybody had their set ways of doing things. Everybody has their, sort of like the old school. You come in, you're going to do it this way. And Florida State was fresh, clean slate, and they're sort of inventing it as they were going, and that intrigued me.
At first, I wanted to go to NYU, but I wanted to stay close to home, and the idea of going to a film school close to home and one that was just establishing seemed to interest me a lot, so that was the main reason why I came here.
As you've probably heard, we are at a guinea pig level here, but it's been great. I've enjoyed it. The people are fantastic. I like the professors. I like the camaraderie with the students, and it's been a very good growing experience for me as well.
It is the first major conservatory to be created in 25 years in this country. It is the only conservatory in which separate graduate and undergraduate units function in different parts of the state. And it is, with perhaps one exception, the only film conservatory that was created out of the wisdom of the state legislature in order to support the growing film and television industry here in the state of Florida.
One of the things that seems to attract talented, bright students to film is the fact that film makes use of music, theater, writing, film, all the visual arts, and that has a certain excitement and sort of interdisciplinary kind of appeal.
Cut! Although the film school's undergraduate program offers a solid curriculum, including film theory and screenwriting courses, it emphasizes hands-on experiences, ranging from cinematography and directing to film and sound editing.
I think that the experience that we're getting is really valuable because it's all hands-on experience instead of book learning, and I didn't really know what to expect. I thought we could just be learning out of books, and instead we're working a lot, and that's good.
They're involved in primarily dramatic narrative storytelling productions, although we don't limit it to any specific genre, as long as it has a fairly strong storyline. And they range from anywhere from just production one, which is just MOS shooting, that's shooting with 60mm camera without sound, and then they add the soundtracks later, to sound sync projects and scene work in the directing class, and then really culminating as they go through, working their way to the BFA thesis projects, which are the large productions, which each film is crewed by 25 to 30 people, and there's a specific hierarchy, and that's where we try to emulate as closely as possible low-budget filmmaking, and there is a budget that has to be maintained.
I've managed to do everything that I wanted to do. I did a little bit of editing, I did a little bit of writing, did a little bit of directing, and I feel like I've managed to give myself a well-rounded sort of academia. But what I want to do is just take whatever I've learned and manage to apply that to the scripts I keep writing, and hopefully in the jobs that I get later on in life.
I have to say, like, when I first showed up, I was like, I guess probably every other generic film school student. I want to direct, my name and lights and everything like that. But getting to know all the other positions, because you don't specialize here, you learn everything. You learn learning how to be a DP, lighting, gaffing, editing, running sound. You learn everything. You don't specialize. And I sort of found a niche in camera and lighting and being a director of photography. And so my expectations have gone where I wanted to specialize in this one thing and be a director and just sort of snub everything else. But I've really let myself open to everything else.
The students are very good. I think that we have an incredible amount of talent here, talent ready to happen. I think that early on, I recognized that one of the problems was that the students needed to be told or encouraged to do more of their own work, and that they were not light years away from getting into the business as maybe a writer-director. I think that this is a great time for young people, especially in their early 20s, early to mid-20s, right out of film school, to make their own film happen.
I think film schools in general are very beneficial for the fact that they allow you to work with people from all over. You get used to working with different people who have strengths in different disciplines. Florida State also provides good facilities to allow me to sort of become more experienced with different types of equipment, and also provided funding as well to allow me to work on longer projects. One of the decisions we made fairly early in our program, particularly for the undergraduate program, was that we would concentrate strictly on 16mm film narrative storytelling filmmaking. And once we made that decision, that made things and the entire curriculum have a certain logic.
The facilities that have been provided to us by the state legislature, which were funded by lottery dollars, are among the best, possibly the best, certainly the newest, in the nation. There really is nothing that compares to these facilities. They are brand new, they are superb, they're fully professional. The Sarasota facilities, of course, have been in operation now for 4 years, with a 4,000 square foot soundstage, which is the largest used for training purposes in the United States. And now we are just seeing the completion of construction on the new undergraduate facilities at the University Center here on the Tallahassee campus. And that will be a splendid facility for the undergraduate program. It has 2 stages, smaller stages, and excellent post-production facilities. It will be a really very fine facility which will last for many, many years. A film facility properly constructed should last for half a century, bringing good value for the money spent to many generations of students.
It's a lot more practical than I expected it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more on the theory and the history of film, which we don't really dwell on. I mean, we get a basic understanding of the film theory, but it's not really kind of like academic subject.
We take pretty much everything from directing all the way down to sound and producing. I mean, pretty much all aspects of the filmmaking are covered.
I really like the fact that it's a very practical-oriented, production-oriented, hands-on film school, and that so that's a lot more useful when you're trying to go get a job and when you're trying to make a movie than all the theory and stuff, which is just more of an aesthetic background.
And the undergraduate students get an education on all the disciplines of filmmaking, sound and editing and directing and producing. The graduate school, the first year, the students are also sort of receive that broad base of knowledge, but are allowed to specialize later in the second year and to take classes specifically in their emphasis.
The moment we opened the doors with the level of funding and commitment from the state and from the university and from the film industry in this state, we became a major film school. That doesn't mean that we have the 60 years that University of Southern California has or the many years that New York University has, but we certainly became a major film school, one of the 5 or 6 major film schools in the country within the first year. The next stage, of course, is to put together a curriculum and to have the kinds of talented students that can make this a great film school. And then the next step, of course, is for those students to go out into the film world and become those kinds of students that NYU and USC have, where people can say Martin Scorsese graduated from, George Lucas graduated from, and that kind of thing. That really is the mark of then the great film schools, and we're not there yet, but we believe that we have the capability to do that.
We are the only film school in the country that pays for all of the students' expenses, including the thesis film. At the other programs with which I've been associated, the most difficult problem was to find funding, and we never did solve that problem elsewhere. Here we have what we call a level playing field, in which every student is treated similarly. At the other schools, a student who comes from a well-to-do family or who otherwise has access to funds is able to finish their thesis, which is an expensive production, sometimes $10,000, $20,000. Other students never finish their degree. They never finish their work. Here, every student gets an equal opportunity. They all work on at least one piece of film, sometimes 2 or 3 of them, as well as many workshop films. We pay for everything. It is a lockstep program, both on the undergraduate and the graduate level, very intensive, perhaps the best equipped program in the country, and we feel comparable, as good or better as any other kind of experience that's offered elsewhere.
Hopefully, what I think would be most important, while it would be great if everyone went on and became filmmakers, which is what we would like, that the students become producers, directors, writers, editors, cinematographers, that the experiences that they have here will serve them in any capacity, in any area, definitely in any area of the film industry that they might go on, but really in any occupation that they might choose, whether it's in the film industry or not.
Films and videos made by the first graduating class from the graduate program have been successful, winning more than 25 awards, honors, and prizes in regional, national, and international competitions.
The student films have been astonishingly successful. The first class graduated out of our Sarasota Graduate Conservatory won more than 30 national and international film prizes, including first prize in the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences and a finalist in the Motion Picture Academy Arts and Sciences, finalist in the Tokyo, 2 finalists in the Tokyo competition, all out of the first class. So there's no question that we're well in business and doing, the students are doing sensational work.
Although there seems to be some mixed opinions about the future of Florida's film industry, both faculty and students agree that the industry is expanding and continues to attract filmmakers on a national as well as an international scale.
I hope it's expanding. I really see it, getting bigger and bigger. There's more and more interest. There's more and more productions going on, more features, more commercials, and it means more work and steady income and steady work.
So I think the more Florida is exposed, and the land and the weather, people like to shoot here, and I think the more media that shows, the more media that comes to Florida, the better. And I don't think a lot of projects are developed here, but I think a lot of them are brought here and shot just because of the weather and the way it is.
I think it's becoming less of an attraction and more of working facilities, and it's attracting smaller facilities to be built studio-wise. And I think that is in the right direction. And I think the state made the right decision. If they really want to have a true film industry, that they started it at the educational level, because that's the basis of the future, because that's where the people who have the roots and have the ability to produce, because until they are able to produce films with money from the state, then we'll always be looked upon as a location where people in California or New York or from around the world will come here and shoot, but they will take a large majority of the production back to their home state or countries.
I think it's going to be huge. There's already a lot of features being shot in Orlando. There's a lot of filmmaking in general going on statewide. And I'm hoping to hear that within about a year or two, somebody has done something in Tallahassee equivalent to what I did in Austin, Rick Linkletter did in Austin, and Robert Rodriguez did in Austin, and that is go ahead with all the talent you have available here, all these people like these people you see around here, some of our juniors who know how to make a film, to go ahead and do it and get out into the real world, get out into festivals with their film. I'm almost 100% certain that's going to happen within the next couple of years.
Professionally here in Florida, we're extremely well regarded, and we have a very close relationship. In fact, we were created. Some of the people who were prominent in bringing the legislature around to create this film school are from the private sector. At Disney Studios, at Universal Studios, many others in Miami and Orlando, in Jacksonville, and other parts of the state. So we have a very agreeable and a very close relationship with the professional filmmakers in the state.
As the students gain knowledge and experience in an educational setting, they also look ahead and prepare themselves for what lies beyond FSU's film school.
Probably in some respects, this whole notion that the film industry is a freelance industry, which means that for a number of people whose parents grew up getting a check twice a week or once a month, is not something that will happen to them. And the idea that they get this great film education and they're one of the best students in the university, and there's no guarantee of employment afterwards, and that even if they're talented, they might not have some of the personal characteristics that will help them get a job, that they may not have the perseverance. So it's, I think, the most frightening prospect is that which they love to do most, they may not be able to do, and that it is a terribly, terribly competitive, sort of Darwinian world out there. It truly is the survival of the fittest.
You learn to be ready for anything because it's kind of hard to plan in the future in a field like this. Find yourself doing many different things. It's kind of exciting because you're not going to be doing the same thing from year to year, so you got to learn as many things as you can while you're here, pick up as many tools as you can so you can be prepared to do a lot of things, so starting out in the industry. I've managed to see production through the eyes of many people. I've, like I said before, I saw production through the eyes of an editor, through the eyes of a director, through the eyes of a writer, and I've managed to put that all together, and I know when I'm writing something how the cinematographer is going to perceive it and how the sound person is going to perceive it, and I can balance all those so I can get the most out of the people around me or out of the script that I'm writing.
While students believe that Florida is gaining popularity in the film industry, they still envision themselves in New York or California when it comes to their own immediate future.
The decision is basically either go to graduate school or to get started in the biz. If I get started in the biz, a lot of people talk about going to Atlanta, Orlando, whatever, and to be honest, I can't see getting a really good solid start unless I move out to Los Angeles. That's where the big action is, that's where all the players are, that's where it happens.
One of the things that I think is interesting is that of our first senior class, more than half of them will go to California. Some will stay in Florida, or what I think of now as the sort of southeastern corridor, which includes Atlanta. Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, I think, are major filmmaking areas. But the fact of the matter is that in order to build a film industry, you need to have a film infrastructure. And California has that infrastructure. New York has that infrastructure. And until agents, banks, entertainment lawyers, the whole host of institutions and businesses that make for a film industry, you won't have a major industry in Florida, but Florida is growing, and it will grow in a sense the way California and New York did.
Since the film industry is relatively new here in Florida, most of the work is out in California, New York still. And what happens in Florida is a lot of times companies will shoot things in Florida, but they'll bring their own people from California and New York. And so things are changing, but a lot of people feel like more opportunities are out in California and New York.
I think the other thing that will happen is a lot of our students will go to California and then spend 5, 6 years there, get good at what they are good at, learn the business, and then perhaps come to Florida, and that might be the best way to do it.
I could establish myself here, but I end up having to go to California and reestablish myself anyway. So that's what I think the future of Florida holds. It's a more of a future thing, something that we can look toward maybe 10, 15 years away, and perhaps then there'll be something here.
It's going to be tricky for a while. I mean, Florida is still growing as a film industry slowly, but it will get there. I think there are a lot of technical positions out there that are available below the line right now. I think it's going to be a long while before they're able to, in Florida, fill any sort of creative positions, because we need to move that into Florida. I mean, because right now, all the creativity projects, the origination of projects is happening really in New York and Los Angeles.
I would love it if I could go out to Los Angeles and make a name for myself, and hopefully by that time I'll be ready to be married, raise a family, and do that in the South, and consider Orlando the South, and be able to help in starting it up on the East Coast. I'd always prefer to live on the East Coast before the West Coast.
A gala opening of senior thesis films was held to celebrate the graduation of FSU Film School's first undergraduate class.
We started out here in '89, fall of '89, they started the school, and there were 16 of us originally admitted, and it grew all the way up to 40, and then it dropped back down to 20, so I'm one of the 20. I went over spring break. I got an internship at ABC with the Academy Awards in Los Angeles, and I planned on going out there anyway, but then that happened into this, and I met a lot of contacts. I met one producer who's producing a film in Texas in October and asked me to work on his film. So I plan on working on his film in Texas in October, and either after that I want to move on out to Los Angeles and get started. And I made so many contacts that I feel like I need to use them now before turnaround. You know, the business has a lot of turnarounds, so I want to get out there soon and get started.
In the summertime, I'm going to go home, which is Tampa for me, and I've got a notebook full of notes for a feature-length screenplay I hope to write this summer. And then in the fall, I'll be in law school, and what I hope to study is finance and entertainment law. And then for the future, hope to produce independent film. The film school is very production-oriented. We only got a taste for the financing side recently in our senior years, but if you know anything about the motion picture industry at all, is that it is an industry, and that kind of background, I think, would be really beneficial to have, especially if you want to produce film.
Well, I'm pretty much looking at the independent film market within the southeast region. I want to stay in Florida, stay in Georgia, and see what sort of productions come up in this direction. That's pretty much what it's looking like.
How does it feel to have your films being viewed here tonight?
It's strange. It's a really weird experience because I've never had this many people see it at any one time. And for this film, it's a comedy which I've never shown to more than 10 people at a time, so I don't know if it's funny. So tonight, hopefully, I'll find out, and hopefully they'll laugh.
How does it feel to be graduating?
It feels really strange. It's kind of an elation and at the same time disappointment and uncertainty and everything else. But, you know, it's been a long haul with these films, and we're happy that a lot of people are going to get an opportunity to see them tonight.
Hi, how's it going? Pro Landscaping. I'm Brad.
Well, hello, Brad. Let's go around back. Brad? Brad!
I'm sorry.
My poor dog passed away recently, darling. So,
I'm so sorry. You know, I had a dog once.
Yes, well, now, Brad, I want you to give me a whole
Can't get over how neat this place
It
is.
is a big place.
It looks like one of those old houses in Union.
The garden over there.
You know, I have cucumbers.
It's a flower garden, actually.
Oh, I see. Well, you know, if you ever need anybody to come
Brad, now I want you to dig me a hole here in the garden so that I may bury her close to our home.
Breaking Ground was just one of 4 thesis films selected to premiere during FSU's first pre-graduation ceremony. With just 4 years under its belt, the FSU Film School has gotten off to a fast start. It's found itself well placed among the nation's top film schools and is now looking toward a bright future of its own. We hope you've enjoyed Sunshine Network's profile on the Florida State University Film School.
How did it go? Kenny!